So here's what the front yard looked like when we first moved in. It was pretty overgrown and just little trees popping up everywhere. And basically, the previous owners had done not too much of anything with this area. And here's what it looks like once we got all the trees and just different plants and stuff out of here that we didn't want. Now, once we got that done, we got the rototiller and rototilled the whole section of ground where we were going to be putting in our sod. And that was a little difficult because there was a ton of rocks and roots and all that, but this is what it looked like once we got it rototilled. And then after we got it tilled, we got out the tractor and smoothed the ground down with that. And then it was off to the sod farm. This place was, I think, probably about an hour away from where we live. It was the closest one that we could find. And we had to come out here a couple different trips to get sod. I think we used a total of 4 pallets to one day, and then we went out a couple days later and got the other 2. But here he's loading up the sod, and that's pretty heavy stuff. You can see the truck get pulled down. And this was our second trip out to the sod farm. The first couple of pallets of sod that we got was not the best quality. It wasn't very lush. And that is what we put in the first section. The sod that came out of this field here was a whole lot nicer. And that's what we ended up putting in the lower section of our front yard. And to this day, it looks way better than the first sod that we got from a different field. This is all the same farm, but different fields, and it made a huge difference. And there is the sod cutter out there cutting sod. They cut it the day of. And there's the sod. And there's my husband, and he slips right there. And here's just a little footage of our drive out there. I thought it was really pretty. This is November, and so there's a little foliage going on. And that's a cool old house. I love historic houses. That one is neat looking. And a little bit more of just the drive. And like I said, I thought it was super pretty. You've got a little leaf change going on there. Most of it had already happened, but it was still pretty. And here I'm just doing a final raking, getting the last of the rocks and roots and all that out of here before putting down the sod.
Okay, we put on a straight line. So that line's measured 3 foot from the house, and that'll be a future flower bed. And then over here I sighted down the side of the house, and this will be the line that we start the grass on. And that also is a site of a potential future fence. And then we're going to want to put a 4-foot wide bed of river rock. And so I measured 2 foot off of that bush, measured over from the house, and then went to the other side and measured off from the house. And that's the line that we're going to go to this side. We're going to start here, and we're going to go and we're going to put it flush up against the blacktop. Okay, so we put the first line in, and we're not going all the way to the strings. We're just making sure it's evenly spaced off of it. And then from here, we're going to just do it like tile and stagger each one by half. So you can see we've started about halfway down, and we're doing it like you would tile or brick. And so a piece needs to be cut here, and instead of trying to fit it in there, I'm going to start it here where it would normally go, and then cut it here and try to cut it as straight as possible. Not the easiest thing to do when you're tired and not using a straight line of any kind. And that makes it where you can do that fairly easily. Then we'll start with a full one here.
And this is the final result after we got it all laid. Now, again, this is the first part of November, so we were a little concerned about how it was going to turn out, but we wouldn't know until springtime. So it has been just about 5 months that this sod has been in, and I am just getting ready to mow it, so I thought I would show what it's looking like. I think it's looking pretty good. There's a few patches that don't look really good, like right here, but that didn't look good when we actually put it in. So this stuff over here is looking nice and lush. And like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and mow it real quick, and I will show you what it looks like after. And here it is mowed. Now this top section here really didn't even need to be mowed because I had it on, I had the mower on such a low setting that there's just a few tufts in here that needed to be mowed. But the quality of the sod on this top section is definitely not as good as the stuff down here. But I still think that overall, the sod installation was a success. This stuff down here was pretty long, and it actually did need to be mowed. So it's growing pretty nicely, as I think you can kind of see here. Since this went so well, I'm thinking eventually we'll probably add more sod down into this area and see how that goes, because I hate having all this dirt up here. It's really messy when it rains. But anyway, it was a pretty successful project, I think, and I love having the grass up here as opposed to the absolute mess that this front area used to be. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.